Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships for our Friday edition video. As today I'm going to be featuring the Tier 8 British light cruiser, the Edinburgh, or also known as the Edinburgh, something like that. And we are on Tiers of the Desert, also known as Tiers of the Cruisers. And this is on the EU server, so actually with a gnome clan, with some rather good gnomes. So, in this video, we're going to be featuring Edinburgh, and then tomorrow I'm going to do upgrading commander build video on the ship, because I realized in looking through some videos that I've featured the ship a long time ago, but I've never done an upgrade commander build video on the ship. So we're going to talk about this Tier 8 light cruiser today. So, in studying the matchmaking, as I'm doing here, there's only one destroyer per team, no carriers, no submarines. So the enemy team has a Bliskaritsa. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but if the mirror spawning works out, that enemy destroyer should be down by sea, which means we have the best concealment in terms of stacking up against other enemy ships. One of the strengths of the Edinburgh, despite being in the game for quite some time, she hasn't been in terms of power crept when we talk about her concealment. So I'll talk more on that, but no, right now we're running a 9.2 kilometer concealment. So really good for a Tier 8 cruiser. And you definitely want that concealment because she is a light cruiser and she can be punished rather easily if you position poorly. So what does that mean when we have such good concealment in this matchmaking? Well, this is one of those opportunities where we get to take advantage and we get to push up. Because as long as I keep a little bit of space with those islands off to the right there, center right of the screen, we will be okay. We will outspot any other ship before they spot us rather comfortably, maybe by roughly a kilometer or more. So we're not too concerned. So I'm going to slow down here, and I'm going to be working with clanmates. Oh my gosh, I'm going to say the name wrong. Carthagus? Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. And so we're going to utilize one of the things that this British light cruiser line is known for, and that is the smoke, which we can swap out for many different things. Now, those of you who've been around the channel long enough know that I really like to run Radar Minotaur, but I do not feel comfortable, and nor would I recommend running that here in Edinburgh, even though you can have a 10-kilometer radar and a 9.2 kilometer conceal, so you can actually stealth radar, or you can completely catch destroyers off guard. I think Minotaur is better for that. But speaking of utilizing our concealment in the smoke screen, we have a mains player who's decided to be rather aggressive in pushing out, and one of the bright shining aspects of the Edinburgh is her 152mm AP, which you get 12. So 3 guns per turret, so 4 turrets, 12 guns. The Edinburgh does best damage output when you have broadside targets. You can see we're already up to 19,000 now in the opening minutes of the match. And that's because of the fact that we have broadside. Now, shells do take a little bit of a travel time, not terribly long. But you really wanting to get in opportunities to have broadside shots on enemy ships. So I find Edinburgh doesn't play so much in a central positioning, like if we were to play down by Bravo. Maybe if we were running radar Edinburgh and trying to take out destroyers, but that's just not the case here. She plays better on the flanks when you can try to get up around the enemy and punish them if they push forward, like if they pushed forward through B, which you're going to see happen later. So that is where you get most of your damage output. And the fact that you only have armor piercing, you don't have high explosive. So you won't be setting fires unless your secondaries or your depth charges cause a fire on a submarine. So that means when you have targets bow in, this ship really, her damage output greatly diminishes, even when you have to deal with in bow in destroyers, right? So if you have a Kleber, you have a Havarosk pushing bow in, you can actually bully an Edinburgh, Marcel. So you do have to be mindful of that. Now, talking a little bit more about her armament, she also has torpedoes. Her stock torpedoes are 8-kilometer range. You can upgrade those torpedoes to 10 kilometers, which is a lot more helpful because then you can actually stealth torpedo. Now, you only get, I believe it's only 3 torpedoes. I just want to check here. Yeah, 3 torpedoes per side. If you do not build into them, you have at least you have the upgraded equipment one. You'll do 15,533 damage. They have a 72-second reload time. The stock ones have a same reload time of 72 seconds at 15,867, 8-kilometer. And I think they have a greater detectability range. No, they're slightly faster, but yeah, you have a slightly, instead of 7.9 second reaction time, it's 7.8 second reaction time. So the main difference in these torpedoes is just the range. So I do recommend, of course, you want to pick that up as you grind up the line, but you're going to want to go for the hull upgrade first. So now it's time we get to punish the Tirpitz. So he's pushed up forward. Now he's Tier 8 German battleship, premium battleship. So yeah, 6,600. So if you're able to get these opportunities, you're always looking for broadside shots. That's where Edinburgh really begins to shine. If you have ships pushing into you or they're running away, unless you're getting them into the superstructure, your damage output, again, is just going to decrease. But we're working here with Carthagus into Tulsa. So he also gets to utilize his 10-kilometer radar. And then also, of course, some of those Des Moines guns, but just fewer guns. You have ship-based depth charges. You have a standard damage control party. You have a specialized repair party. You can heal back a lot more health than the standard ship. So you'll see it's an improvement over Fiji and what's also Neptune and Minotaur known for. So you can take punishment and heal a lot back. Now, if you get caught out, you can easily be one-shotted in the Edinburgh because her armor is rather lacking as a light cruiser. So do keep that in mind. So the playstyle of Edinburgh, I would say, especially whether you're playing ranked or randoms, is that it's a very cautious playstyle. You're going to want to take your time, see what the enemy's doing, paying attention to their positioning, and seeing if you can have those opportunities where you can get those broadside positions. So you don't want to be aggressive in Edinburgh. That's not what this ship does best. You kind of just plays off around the your objectives, like your cap zones. Yeah, that's one of her strengths. And then, of course, utilizing the smoke, right? So you can switch out smoke to a few other things here on the ship. So you can have smoke, you can have actually spotting aircraft as well, as long as the WoW's fitting tool is still up to date. Fighter, and then that 10-kilometer radar, which you get 3 charges of, or 4 charges with the Superintendent, which we're running Superintendent here on Edinburgh right now, but we don't have Adrenaline Rush, so when we take some damage later, you won't see a reduction in the reload time. Speaking of which, I didn't even talk about the reload time of these guns. If you don't have Adrenaline Rush activated, it's just full health, you're a 7.5 second reload time. You don't get access to 6 slot where you can take the main battery reload mod that like Neptune and Minotaur get to take. But of course, as you take damage or Adrenaline Rush, or if you really feeling gutsy and you want to take some like top grade gunner to improve your main battery reload time, which I don't know if I necessarily recommend so much here on Edinburgh. Maybe a different conversation can be had with Minotaur as an example. But it's not one I would encourage because you will be punished, of course, for playing more aggressive here with the Edinburgh. So we do get detected. His guns are, I think they are actually looking this way. So we're going to go ahead and smoke up. Now, it's important when you are playing a light cruiser that you move around in the smoke screen because you will have players who get maybe a little frustrated with you and they'll take some blind shots at you. And also utilizing that hydroacoustic search. That's very valuable to have here on the Edinburgh. You don't get to switch it out with anything. But that hydro is a 5-kilometer detection of ships, 3.5 of torpedoes. So the only kind of threat would be more a Mono or maybe a Malfi, but I think they're too far away at this point. As we check with our torpedoes which direction Titan's going. But this Tirpitz is just sitting broadside, and now we're just going to be able to stack up more and more of the damage here. So we're getting some nice, 3 to 6K salvos, but he's going to start getting damage saturated, so we're not going to have these big salvos as we had previously. There's that Amalfi, so he's really cutting it close with just so little health. But when you are playing Edinburgh, I do kind of recommend, if you're using smoke, in light cruisers in general, try to move maybe more to the edge of a smoke screen. Maybe if you notice a torpedo threat, be angled away from where you think the torpedo threat is. So you do already have built-in propulsion. That's one of the benefits of this line. So for the 4th slot, I take the rudder shift to better help dodge incoming fire. So that is a nice thing that you get to have, especially as you go up the line with Neptune and Minotaur, of course. So Tirpitz is pushing in, our smoke screen is dissipating, so then we're going to push away. Now I had been dumping torpedoes, expecting maybe VIII eventually decides to push up and be aggressive. It looks like Tirpitz, he's trying to probably land some shots around where we were, and I was like, oh, he's going to be so upset for the fact that I'm spotted after as just my smoke was going down, but of course he wouldn't have known that our smoke was getting ready to dissipate. That is when we have the Tier 7 Spanish cruiser, the Asturias, begins to push in. So notice when he does go bow in, we're just going to have a much more difficult time dealing damage. So we have to play smart, even though we may be tempted to try to get all of our guns on target. I do really want to get some torpedoes here, but I'm going to wait, maybe see a little bit more what he's doing. Have my teammates step in, go broadside. He's broadsiding Carthagis and the Tulsa right now, so possible that he's able to step in here. And we're going to single launch these torpedoes. That's another fun thing you can do with this line is single launch torpedoes, and we want to spread them out just a little bit more. Other things I did want to make mention of was talking about her concealment. Now she ties for 5th place in the game with Star Edinburgh and Tiger 59. So she's got top 5 in terms of best concealment in the game for cruiser. And then when you begin to talk about her AA strength, rather bad. She ties for 30th with Cherbourg, Ochakov, Star Edinburgh. And then with main battery range, she's 5th worst in the game at 15.4 with the upgrade. So do keep those in mind. The Wiles Wiki kind of talks highly of her AA, but it's a solid suite of AA, but it's not. It's pretty poor. So 91,000 damage with the First Blood, and then Strike Team. Maybe that's what that is. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll correct it with a comment at the bottom if I'm wrong. We're going to be 5th on the team with 1,700 base XP, with Josh and Carthagis doing really well. In the 2nd and 3rd place are Catulina. Also had a really good game. We caused the 91,000 damage, none with the torpedoes or secondaries or depth charges. We only took 18,000 damage, mostly from that enemy Asturias there at the end of the match. And then with premium count, without premium count, I thought I had to activate it. I clicked on activating it from the news article, but it didn't go through. So unfortunate, but I'm grinding Edinburgh for Minotaur on the EU line. So just know in general, Edinburgh, I think she's still a pretty good ship, but depending on your positioning and how the enemy team positions, can really negate how much damage you're going to get. So don't expect to get a lot of high damage with Edinburgh, especially since she doesn't have that high explosive, just only the armor piercing, but really good armor piercing. And I want to see if there is anything else I should have made mention of that I haven't. I mean, yeah, she does have good maneuverability, especially if you take that rudder shift in the 4th slot. Yeah, and being a light cruiser, she's just really overmatched everywhere, so just be really careful. If you're tempted to try to get our guns off, you can result in the enemy ship firing upon you, getting black citadels. I mean, you can even be citadeled by destroyers if they're close enough, especially maybe something like the Russian or the French destroyers. In particular, just immediately bounced in my head, and other destroyers who can get closer to you. So do respect that, but the smoke radar combination, I think, is smoke hydro combination. Smoke hydro combination, I think, is the best run on Edinburgh. I don't really advise a radar build Edinburgh unless maybe you're running with some teammates that have smoke and can smoke you up in turn. Then that becomes a little bit of a different question. So tomorrow I'll do upgrading commander build on Edinburgh. I've got some more. I need to play some. I have several tier 10 ships. I think like 4 off the top of my head that I need to play. in future. So apologies for that, but I hope you liked today's video. So if you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I appreciate it, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.